10 years ago, we were sitting on my porch overlooking the bay, and it probably was coming out of redfish rodeo or something was going on, and just had an idea. I said, we ought to do something like this for kayaks. Really, I guess it was destiny.
We wanted to get everybody involved and have a festival that got kayakers all together in one place to catch bull reds, live catch and release, and I was just like, that sounds amazing.
It was just such a unique tournament, and it was a small group, but we all kind of looked at it and went, man, this could be really big.
You're about to see what 630 kayaks looks like leaving a marina.
I would kind of compare it to Woodstock. If you see all the pictures from Woodstock back in the day, it's people just everywhere. In our case, it's people in kayaks just scattered all over Bridgeside Marina.
You're going to be sitting out, and it's going to be a beautiful sight to see all these kayaks to go ahead and ride the bull at the Caminada Pass.
Another world record. We're approaching 700 on registration. We got plastic for miles. We'll be well over $1 million worth of kayaks and gear in the pass today.
All about community, you know, and I've said it a few times, but it's kind of like what Sturgis is to Harleys, Ride the Bull is to kayakers.
Jacob Scott from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Lucas Stewart, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Paul Bailey from New Zealand. I wanted to go on a legendary sleigh ride on a bull red.
There's nothing like it in the world where you can go out on a kayak, catch a 30, 40-pound fish, and have it released unharmed back into the Gulf of Mexico. For the most part, it's anybody's game.
It's unique, it's a one of a kind, and you know, it has been a pleasure to deal with ever since.
We knew it was going to be one of the world's largest kayak tournaments. We didn't know it was going to be this big.
Year two, things just kind of doubled up, and at that point you begin to wonder, how big is this thing going to get? I knew kind of that the spectrum of people we would attract would be really broad. First year, we offered free place to camp out behind our house, and we had a couple of guys that are now on the Hobie team show up, and they were in their Pelicans and their little Toyota truck. I noticed that it was not just kayakers, it was kind of a thing with community, you know, and people were all happy and they wanted to see the other people's boats, and they wanted to see their trailers. You know, kayak fishing was pretty much a brand new sport.
You're close to the water, you're right there. When you turn loose, you're getting that rod, he's pulling you around, you're fighting the fish.
We got involved year one. You know, Danny and Kristen had put together a handful of volunteers to Ride the Bull, and a couple of them being John Walther and George Huey and Tim Osborne were all board members of ours as well. And so they engaged me just because I love to fish Grand Isle.
So in the first couple of years of Ride the Bull, it was a lot of entry-level kayakers getting out there, getting their chance to see what kayak fishing was like.
We kind of walked away from it going like, we might have something here, let's keep going.
It was literally a mix of all different kinds of people, and it was a lot of entry-level kayakers that had never been on the water before, and they're all out there riding the waves, catching giant fish, and it was just, I knew right then that this was going to be huge after the first couple of years, and sure enough, it went from 180 people to over 300 to 400 in the first coming years. So it was exciting seeing all these people just in the first kayak they can get their hands on.
A grassroots effort, really. Started here at Bridgeside, getting a facility, and of course this facility lends itself perfectly. You're right here, you paddle 400 yards and you're in prime bull red country.
I was born and raised in Texas, but my friends from KC Kayaks invited me out to Ride the Bull tournament down in Grand Isle. I asked them what it's about, and they were just so funny about it. They were just like, hey man, it's just a really easy tournament. There's a whole bunch of kayaks get together, fishing this pass, a lot of good food, a lot of good people. Just come on out, make a whole weekend of it.
I think the thing I was always most afraid of was bad weather and having to cancel. More times than not, we got through it.
It is 7 a.m. in Grand Isle, Louisiana, and as you can see, It is officially started. We've got over 700 kayakers going after a bunch of bull reds.
Fishing Ride the Bull is really fun. And there's other people out there. There's a lot to do, a lot to see. Look, I think it's a cool format. Geographically locked in, you're kind of safe because you have support boats. The fish are awesome, but to win it, it's got to be your bait to have the biggest redfish grabs, and he's got about 750 choices.
Actually, in 2015, we were fishing on Friday right before the tournament. We found a spot. We caught a bunch of bull reds right there, caught some real big ones. So didn't catch anything that year, but I actually went back there in 2016. And it was pretty slow that morning. It was one of the late morning bites. And I was sitting in a crowd of I don't know how many people, and all of a sudden my reel starts singing off. And fought it for 5 or 10 minutes, got it in the boat, and I mean, honestly I was shaking so bad I didn't really understand how big the fish was. So it was a good, I'd say 5.5 hours of just waiting and hoping nobody else brought in a bigger fish.
I was fishing on the right side of the bridge with mullet on the bottom. We had 2 fish hooked up 10 minutes before that and lost both. My husband and I each lost one, and then about 10 minutes later, I started reeling that one in. I fought it for about, I don't know, I guess 5 to 10 minutes on my YOLO paddleboard, and I wasn't able to put them in my net, and so we had the boat come by, and the boat helped me get them up. And
that's the great thing about Ride the Bull is that it is anybody's game. I mean, we had 2 years straight, back to back, where women won it. One of them was on a paddleboard, and she had some kayak fishing acumen. And the next year, we had a woman in a borrowed canoe win it. And
This has been my favorite weekend of the year for the last 4 years. My brother introduced us to this tournament. He's been here 5 years now. And this has just been so much fun. I enjoy every year I come here. And next to my wedding day and the birth of my children, this has been the coolest day of my life.
That was when Ride the Bull was really starting to flourish and take off, when having these pictures of these 100-pound girls holding up bull redfish. That's just the magic of it, is that anybody can win, and that's where the sustainability of it happens. It's truly a fun social event that people are happy to bring their friends down to compete in.
Like we said, it's not a serious tournament where we're focused on just catching a slam or just catching a big trout the whole weekend. We're just going out there and having a good time, and that allows me to kind of help out wherever I can.
You know, I've been fortunate enough to be involved with Ride the Bull since its inception with Danny and Kristen Wray, and now with its home with CCA and the Backpacker and those wonderful sponsors. It's been fun. I mean, it's always an event you look forward to every year. I always like the fact that you don't have a motorboat to have a good time at Grand Isle.
It is a unique experience from a fishing perspective, but then on the party and festival perspective, since it's mainly really a luck tournament, you need to be well prepared, but whoever catches a big bull red, you don't need to be a professional. And so the event is much more about the party and the festival and everybody getting together than it is just the fishing alone.
Well, I've covered a lot of fishing rodeos, tournaments, events, but I got to tell you, Ride the Bull is one of a kind. And when it started several years ago, I kind of had my doubts about it. People going out in kayaks, catching bull redfish in Caminada Pass, and now we've seen what it's grown to become, one of the biggest kayak, if not the biggest kayak tournament in the world.
Look and see who has a crowd. I think we got coverage on the south end at the moment. I just don't want to leave the north end vacant. I got to run into the marina real quick. But if anybody needs help, holler.
Before CCA, a lot of the guides on Grand Isle volunteered their time to come run the chase boats.
Every year we have, say, 100 bull reds caught. Most of those bull reds are all caught within an hour or two span. They all come in a giant school, and it is one heck of a happening.
So last year, me and Heath from Yak Tribe had a chance to head down and film and cover the event. And it was just a whole different perspective being out on the chase boats. We had a chance to get some really cool drone footage and some up close and personal footage of the beasts that are being brought in and tagged and measured.
Kind of like being a fireman, you get called to all the activity, you get to see firsthand people fighting it. You get to see the joy on their faces. You get to look at the 25 people surrounding them. Everybody's kind of into it, you know.
We've had a couple kayaks slowly sink, and we've had you know, people flip over, and we got to get them back upright. 'Cause a chase boat is a heck of an experience, and I would encourage anybody that wants to be one, contact me. You know, we only want a certain number, but we're always looking for a few more at least on standby, because we need, you know, a lot of boats to help pull this thing off.
This is what it's all about. Ride the Bull, Grand Isle, Louisiana.
I think it has a very broad appeal. And we didn't really know where it would fall out. I had hoped that Grand Isle would become a kayak destination, which indeed it has. And in some part because of Ride the Bull. Guys from Tennessee would come and show back up the next year. Next thing you know, it's 27 states are represented and a few people from foreign countries. And I was like, I guess it made me proud.
That 6 years from that first trip, Louisiana's pretty much become my second home. And Ride the Bull is one of those events that I put hard on that calendar as a one event every year that I'm definitely not gonna miss.
People love this event, and that it's truly a gathering, a community event for the kayak fishing world. In the future, I mean, I think that Ride the Bull will stay the way it is, because like Danny's always said, bring a friend.
Ride the Bull not only provides a lot of entertainment and recreation for the participants in it, but it also brings an awful lot of recognition to the state of Louisiana for kayaking. And I don't know if there's another place in the country or maybe the world that could pull this off, where you've got such a small area that has so much easy accessibility for people in paddlecraft to get out and catch such beautiful fish as these bull reds. Plus, you got all the ambiance of Louisiana. It's Grand Isle, after all. Cajun influence, the food, the whole works.
And the fact that you have that close access to a relatively safe environment that's got hundreds, if not thousands, of big bull reds right there. I don't think you can duplicate that anywhere else in the United States. So I think for that reason, it'll stay on the map.
And on top of the people that come down there to fish, there's a ton of people who come down just to watch, whether they're coming down from their camps on the island or actually coming down from Baton Rouge or wherever. They're coming down there just to see the event, and like as we're launching, there's people lined up on the pier and people are stopping on the bridges and honking their horns at us and just kind of showing their support. Even though they've probably never been in a kayak before, they're coming down and watching and participating in our event.
It's became, or has become rather, you know, one of the premier rodeos of the summer, and there's a rodeo every weekend of the summer after Memorial Day.
Yeah, Kristen and I were just kind of both astounded and happy and a little bit proud. And to be honest with you, I see a bunch of visitors coming to Grand Isle with kayaks now, and it gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling. Yeah, yeah.
A handful of people have asked me what's the goal, and you know, look, the goal is to have another great party from my standpoint, but I think we're going to shoot for 1,000. You know, we've broken the 700 number once or maybe even twice, but we're going to try to get into that 1,000 if we can. We're going to keep making the party and the festival better. Hopefully we grow it. You know, Buggy Vegas over at Bridgeside, he and I talk every year, which by the way, this truly doesn't happen without Bridgeside Marina, and I'm not sure there's another marina in the state that could pull it off. But you know, we keep talking that we're going to move across the street to Wakeside because we're going to need more room, and so hopefully we will here in the near future.
I'm going to say this for Rad. I'm glad you're doing it.